Good morning and welcome to the Weather Now. Tropical update for you. Of course, the big news, the big weather story is Hurricane Florence official landfall this morning, 7:15 a.m. near Wrightsville Beach. That's near Wilmington, a little bit closer to the coast. About 7:15 this morning as a Category 1 hurricane. Sustained winds at that time were 90 miles per hour. But of course, land interaction, wrapping in some dry air, it's lost its fuel source, the ocean, the southwestern Atlantic. So we're beginning to see that weakening trend more steadily take place. So down to sustained winds right now of 80 miles per hour. Latest update from the National Hurricane Center. Hurricane Florence still Category 1. Sustained winds 80 miles per hour. Latitude 34 degrees and 78 degrees west. Longitude pressure 28.29 inches. Gradually rising, of course. As the pressure rises, the wind speeds will decrease. The cause of wind, that rush of air from higher pressure to lower pressure. So because the pressure is rising, your winds are decreasing. That's kind of how that works. Moving to the west-southwest, it's hard to use the adjective moving or the verb moving. It is crawling. That may be a better use there, describing the movement of this storm system, and it's going to continue to slow down. So this is a very slow mover, no significant changes in the forecast overnight, nor with the 5, the 8, or the 11 o'clock updates. All right, definitely some questions coming in. I am going to get more into the detail portion of the forecast, but I at least want to give you a shot to ask your questions. I'll do my best to answer those. Marge, thank you for watching. Kelly, any word on Richlands, North Carolina? Not that town specifically. New Bern has been the hardest hit, specifically with storm surge. Remember, this was a Cat 4, had a decent-sized wind field, pushed a lot of water, moved a lot of water up into coastal North Carolina, Wilmington, Topsail Beach, over to New Bern, up the rivers and the marshes here. Very surge-prone in that area, and they had historical flooding. Unfortunately, many folks in New Bern were trapped, had to be rescued in the middle of the night, and that's going to be a developing story throughout the day. Hopefully, we don't get any more bad news on that specific area, or from that specific area. Stromae Cutter, 9 times out of 10 hurricanes usually hit land in the middle of the night or very rarely in the morning. Why is that? You know, there's no specific reason, and actually, you know, that may be for us 9 times out of 10, but there are many examples where that's a little bit different. Katrina hit it in the morning, but past sunrise, and Andrew did hit it in the middle of the night. Wilma, the worst conditions were during the day. You know, just kind of, there's no specific reason. Again, it's purely coincidence, but the actual statistics a little bit more 50-50. Than 9 times out of 10, but definitely the streak here, Stromae, has been, like you said, late night into the early mornings. Crystal, thank you for watching. Swainsboro's getting wind now, getting a little bit. You know, not much wind. It's a little breezy out there, and we'll have the breezy winds around today. Windiest tomorrow into Sunday, and that's a time period we want you to be on the lookout for the more significant weather effects. Not that there's going to be anything crazy or anything like that, but winds will increase. Right now, sustained winds 13 miles per hour, Swainsboro, 14 Hunter, 15 Buford. So it's breezy out there today north of the Altamaha River. Wind gusts right now 15 to 25, so it's going to be breezy to a little bit windy today. These are not damaging winds out there, but you will notice the breeze kicking up after a pretty calm and still morning out there. Sustained winds 12 Jessup, 9 Waycross, 8 Douglas, 7 Brunswick. Of course, pressure is lower up here. Higher pressure moving to areas of lower pressure, the air that is causing the wind, but the wind direction is out of the north and northwest because area of low pressure, aka Florence, counterclockwise rotation. So that's why we're going to be getting that northerly and that northwesterly breeze. And on our southern areas, Glen McIntosh counties, maybe more of a due offshore wind out of the west. Tamika, how about Hampton County? Josh says, could it shift further south? Michael says, or Michelle, sorry, watching the Weather Channel, they are showing a lot of flooding there in North Carolina. Absolutely. It's terrible there. The combination of rainfall, flooding, and their natural drainage systems, these creeks, these rivers, these marshes, backed up by that surge, the storm tide. So it was a perfect setup. And I hate to use the word perfect, but it was a perfect setup for dangerous flooding there. You're very welcome, Chelsea. Good morning, Danielle. Helena says, nice in Claxton. Yeah, this breeze is a nice trade-off. Little bit of cloud cover, breeze slightly cooler than yesterday. This helping to mix around the air, and it's an offshore breeze, so the humidity value is a little bit lower, and we'll take it. Now let's get to weather impacts. This is mainly later tomorrow, though it will be windy even a little bit this evening. You may notice that. Weather impacts later tomorrow, Saturday. and into Sunday. So peak would be, Saturday midday through maybe Sunday morning, Sunday midday. By that time, a weakening tropical storm to our north. Wind gusts 35 to 45 miles per hour. I would plan on that in the low country just in case. Certainly a decent possibility of gusts at least approaching 40, if not 45. But your risks of more significant and damaging, impactful wind gusts to 60, low. The risk of heavy rainfall, especially the type that would cause any street flooding, low. And the risk of coastal flooding or tide flooding, here specifically for our area south of the Edisto River, Beaufort County, Jasper County, on down the coastline, is low as far as significant coastal flooding. With this offshore wind, the real surge values or water rises up to our north. Now that pressure is rising, offshore winds still very gusty, but not quite as intense as they were. We'll see those values come down a little bit gradually through the day. Let's see. How much rain in Beaufort, Jessica? Jess, thank you. Thank you for watching. Means a lot. Felicia, getting a nice little breeze in Early Branch, South Carolina. Yeah, today's breeze is nice, increasingly windy later in the day, but as far as wind that could cause isolated power issues, that's going to be later Saturday into Sunday. All right, let's go through a computer model. Folks want to know about rain, and I got to tell you, some folks are going to see Zippo. They're not going to get any rain. Talking to you specifically south of the Altamaha River, Alma, Bacon County, Coffee, Jeff Davis counties, Waycross, Pierce, Brantley counties, Wayne County, Ware County, Glen McIntosh counties, probably been McIntosh County, Long County, Tattnall, Toombs counties, Montgomery, Wheeler County, on up into Emmanuel County. These areas going to be in a spot that's going to be relatively dry. In the low country, that's going to be your greatest chance for rain. Going to walk you hour by hour. Going to answer a few more questions coming in right now on Facebook. Dan, Folly Beach, you have the chance of tropical storm force winds and some decent shower activity. Folly Beach, again, a little bit closer up to the Charleston area. Tammy says breezy and partly cloudy in Jessup. Lola says, how's the weather going to be in Savannah? How about Hampton County? You're very welcome, Felicia. Cindy, we are quite breezy now in North Guyton. Feels great, certainly does. Sharifa says, checking in from Coffee Bluff. Thank you for the continued updates. Happy to provide those for you. Thank you for watching. Really appreciate the viewership. So if you're just joining, again, this has made landfall in Wrightsville Beach, North Carolina. That's kind of adjacent, a coastal portion of the Wilmington metro area. That was at 7:15 this morning. It was moving, kind of jogging to the southwest, now more due west. It's inland, but it's riding the coastline a little bit, and then we'll hook more westerly if the forecast data is to believe, which again, pretty confident it's not going to take that southerly route. We've been talking about that for the past few days. It's a low risk possibility, not the forecast. That is still holding true this morning. There are no significant updates to the messaging, to the forecast, to the advice from the WTOC weather team. All right, a lot of people are asking about rain, hour-by-hour forecast. I'm not going to make you wait any longer. Apologize for making you wait as much as I did. 11 o'clock this morning, we're getting cloud bands, but no rain in the area. Maybe some more significant cloud bands, maybe overcast here in the low country this evening, but the weather's still decent, especially with that breeze. May feel pretty nice this evening if you have evening plans, though it's going to be breezy to windy. No crazy winds at that time. 5 o'clock. We do have an isolated rain chance here in the low country. I went 20% along and north of I-16, 30% north and east of the Savannah River, and no chance of rain today south of the Altamaha River. So you kind of get the idea. Through 5 o'clock, most of us, if not all of us, are dry, but that chance is there for a pop-up or a shower drifting in around that flow from Florence. A little bit of alliteration there this evening in the low country. But notice how those showers, again, it's kind of behind me now. I'm going to have to turn myself just a little bit. The weather computer, not sure if you can see that, but that's what I'm kind of using over here to show you the weather graphics. So 6 o'clock this evening, backing it on up. Notice how the showers try to approach Hampton, Colleton, Beaufort counties, and notice how they just diminish. So you have a chance, but it's not much rain today. That's why the chance is low. Let's go into tomorrow. Early tomorrow morning, again, still, it's going to be a close call, but looking like the majority of the rain is to our north. Charleston Metro, even the north side there, up into the Walterboro area perhaps up into the Bamberg area, Aiken area, Columbia, on towards Dorchester County, Charleston. We're waking up tomorrow morning. It's windy, breezy to windy, a mix of sun and clouds north of I-16, more sunshine south of the interstate, and most of us are going to be dry tomorrow morning. Again, tomorrow's rain chance is just 40%. It's scattered stuff on your Saturday. It is scattered stuff on your Sunday. This is not a huge rainmaker for the coastal empire and the low country. even as we go through the day, here we are. This is going to be your greatest chance. Remember how we said midday or later Saturday on through Sunday morning. More cloud cover, so partly to mostly cloudy across the region. There is your hit or miss, your scattered rain chance, especially north of I-16. That's 2 o'clock on your Saturday. Going deeper into the future, the showers try to make it further south, but not until 7, 8 o'clock on Saturday, and they're going to be really hit or miss and weakening as they push off to the south. But by this point, it's windy on your Saturday. It's partly to mostly cloudy on your Saturday, and we have isolated to widely scattered showers, maybe a rogue thunderstorm on your Saturday, but not a terrible day. Brenda says, flying home tomorrow, hope I make it. We might have regional delays, not only because of the weather itself, but also airlines having to cancel, some rerouting ongoing. So the big hub, Charlotte, Atlanta, of course, Charleston probably having weather delays, and Myrtle Beach Airport was closed. A lot of people canceling earlier, and the same up a little bit further the coast. Raleigh-Durham having some delays. So we could definitely have some delays continuing at the airports tomorrow. Let's see. Jessica, thank you for that. People are people. You can have whatever reaction you want to this live feed. I'm just glad y'all are watching, and if you would prefer to get your weather information elsewhere, of course, it's a free country. You are more than willing to do that, but still appreciate the viewership and folks being so kind on this feed. Jennifer says, can I take my storm shutters down? 35 to 45 mile per hour gusts tomorrow. Certainly windy enough to knock down some limbs. Isolated power outages. Low country specifically, along with the clouds and the isolated to widely scattered showers. This is not a widespread severe weather event, but some of those gusts, as we know here, a very heavily forested area, could cause isolated power outages, could knock down some limbs, particularly low country, extending into areas north of I-16, but it's not terrible stuff, just a little inclement out there. Nikki, any chance of this reforming off the coast? Looking less and less likely. No data supports this reforming off the coast. Some does bring it down a little bit further down the coast before hooking to the west, but still a lot of land interaction, so rapid strengthening, anything like that, looking very, very unlikely. Again, the official forecast is going to bring that path back up for you. This is from the National Hurricane Center. Some people prefer to look at model data, but I say, hey, why not go with the consensus? Why not go with what makes more sense? So that's what I'm going to do here, because some of the model data, after all, that did have worse conditions for the coastal empire and the low country did not verify, and that's why we were hesitant to show you that, because there was other data, other things actually going on in the atmosphere that argued against such movements. So this is the consensus, what is most likely here, and there's some pretty good confidence in the forecast now. Moving west-southwest at 3, did take that jog to the south, but now moving a little bit more westerly, and it may continue to wobble around and jog. This is like a spinning top on a hardwood unlevel floor. It's not going to move perfectly. It's not going to spin perfectly. The atmosphere behaves like a fluid. The ridge of high pressure to its north is bumpy. It's uneven. It's not a perfect dome like what we have on the maps. It just isn't. The atmosphere is not perfect. So it's going to wobble around a little bit, but generally west and then accelerating and moving out to the northwest on your Sunday. This is going to be the next 12, 18, more than 24 hours, really, between now and Saturday evening. It's still over the Midlands of South Carolina, producing sustained winds 40 miles per hour. That's the forecast, though winds may not actually be that strong at the surface, but the possibility is there to our north. But as I just showed you, hour by hour, already we're starting to see with this storm system, as I pull it back up, look at the structure of this storm. And now it's pretty symmetrical, but it's going to change here as we go over the next several hours as it interacts more and more with land. So the center of circulation is just about near Wilmington. And of course, pretty symmetrical. As the crow flies, it's pretty even in all quadrants now. Not a huge storm, but an average-sized hurricane, very intense hurricane, very dangerous hurricane. But as hurricanes go size-wise, it is not the biggest we've ever seen. That is a fact, and that is for sure. But what's going to happen here as this interacts with land? We have more southerly wind shear. We're going to keep the center, moving off to the west, at least generally so, in that direction. You know what, I'm going to make my line a little bit wider so that you can see it better. So it's going to be moving off to the west and west-northwest in that direction. But what's going to happen is we're going to see a lot of the shower and any thunderstorm activity and the greatest concentration of wind shift to the north and the northeast side. The coastal empire, the low country being on the south and east side, we're going to be impacted a little bit. Those gusts 35 to 45 tomorrow into early Sunday, particularly low country of South Carolina, Beaufort, Jasper, Hampton counties. But still, by comparison, better than it is, especially off to the north and northeast of the center. Suzanne says, praying for all those that are impacted. Absolutely, I completely agree with that. That is my personal opinion, and I feel the same way. Kelsey, we're in Columbus. We're going back Saturday night or Sunday morning to Beaufort unless the forecast changes. That is absolutely up to you. Again, water level rises, not expected to be too significant. It will be windy, maybe some isolated power outages, but the risk of severe weather is quite low, coastal empire and low country, as of the present forecast, which we have quite a bit of confidence in. Andy, will Guyton get any strong winds? Let's pull up the windcast. This is a forecast model that I think is a good idea to show you, that makes sense to me, and I like the data it's spitting out. To me, I think it tells a good story. Here we are today. Sustained winds 10 to 15, maybe up to 20, gusts 25, maybe some 30-mile-per-hour gusts in here. It's breezy to windy. That's today, not damaging winds, but windier than it has been. You know, typically in the summer, it's not that windy around these parts. You're going to notice the difference here, that it's a little bit windier today. Going into your Saturday, notice where the gustiest winds are. Number one, offshore, small craft advisory, if not gale conditions offshore, especially north and northeast of the Edisto River. Big old waves, a lot of rip currents out here, dangerous to get out in the water, really windy too. Obviously surfers taking advantage because the surf setup not bad, actually pretty good. But I do not encourage you to get into the water. Sustained winds on your Saturday afternoon, the potential for isolated gusts 35 to 45. Everyone sustained 10 to 20, gusts 20 to 30 for just about everybody, but that breeze may be a little bit weaker south of the Altamaha River. So in Guyton, you can expect gusts occasionally over 30 miles per hour possibly. You know, kind of like in the fall when a cold front moves through and we have those windy days. I think the windiest conditions, as we've been saying for quite a while, beginning, midday Saturday, more so Saturday evening into Sunday, north of I-16, sustained 15 to 25, and gusts, maybe 35 to 45, focused in on the low country. You live south of the Altamaha River, Baxley, Hazelhurst, Alma, Douglas, Waycross. You're going to get nothing but the benefits from this. Not that anyone's going to get terrible stuff, but you're going to have nothing but the benefits south of the Altamaha River. Slightly cooler temperatures, few more clouds to keep you cool, just an isolated rain chance in that breeze to mix around the air. Baxley, Jessup, Odom, Waycross, Scriven, the community, talking to you all down there. Kelsey, Tina, my husband has to be back to work Monday, so I'm guessing it'll be fine. Let's find Tina's comment. Tina, we're in Georgia and was wanting to know if it was safe to go back to Beaufort. Again, that is up to you, but there are no mandatory evacuations for Beaufort County. No mandatory evacuations for Beaufort County, and you can, move freely as you wish. The weather does not look too bad. Isolated power outages are possible. It's going to be breezy to windy, isolated showers, but the weather is not going to be severe as it looks right now. We have quite a bit of confidence in that first alert forecast. Pat says, plan to travel from Michigan through Asheville going to Bluffton Monday or Tuesday. How does that look for driving? Thanks in advance. Thank you, Pat, for getting your source of weather from here, from this feed. And it is looking a little bit wet, so you're going to have a bit of a wet commute going through interior western North Carolina. And I encourage you to be careful because that rain could be heavy, the higher elevation of western North Carolina. There could be some flooding out there. It could have some mudslide and rockslide issues in the higher elevations. So a wet commute, at least a portion of that, not your entire drive. But I do suggest that you stay tuned to the weather because it's going to be one that could impact that drive specifically for you, especially to our north through western North Carolina and portions of the Piedmont region, kind of in that area. You could have some issues early next week as far as the driving conditions. Brittany, will Chatham County have any power outage? Again, I can't tell for sure. We know it depends on your neighborhood. I hardly ever lose power in Pooler. Folks out on the islands tend to lose power with a light breeze occasionally, so it just depends. You know your problem spots. If you are in an area that typically loses power in a breezy to windy day, certainly there's a chance, but we're not expecting any widespread issues. If there are power outages, they will be fairly isolated. Again, this is the kind of wind that's like after you get those fall cold fronts, the big time fall and winter cold fronts, you have those really windy days. It's going to be that kind of wind. Not severe, but windy. Isolated power outages, maybe a few limbs come down. And I'm really talking to you in the low country. everyone asking about their community, and I'm trying to get everyone's questions answered, but I'm afraid I'm going to miss some. So just remember, further south and west you go, the least, or the less, I should say, you will be impacted. You will be impacted the least south of the Altamaha River. Christy, the number behind me are sustained, said can have 30 or so gusts. Yeah, so if you are south and west of the Savannah River, 25 to 35 gusts, really talking about the 40-plus gusts, 40 to 45 low country. But, folks, we can deal with that. We do deal with that pretty regularly. You get that in a thunderstorm sometimes. So this is not going to be a severe wind event. Overall safe, but could knock down a few limbs, isolated power outages. We're going to watch it for you, keep you updated, of course, through the weekend. But this is not looking like a severe wind event. It never really did for our area. Suzanne Griner, thank you for watching. Thank you for the kind words. Thank you for watching in Bluffton. What about Jessup? Tammy, Jessup again. It's going to be a breezy weekend, maybe a little windy. You have an isolated rain chance, partly cloudy. You're not going to get severe weather south of the Altamaha River and looking unlikely for anybody. I just want to broad brush that. You live south of the Altamaha River, Highway 84, south of Hinesville, Fort Stewart, down through Jessup, down to Waycross, over to Pierce-Brantley counties, and over to Hazelhurst and Douglas, Alma, and Baxley. We're not worried about the weather for y'all. Just flat out, go out. Do not cancel weekend plans down there. The further north you go, the more likely you are to have scattered rain. We planned around that before. It's summer in the southeast. But winds, 35 to 45 miles per hour, could create isolated power outages, so something we'll be watching for you and something to be aware of if you have any extended outdoor plans. It's going to be really windy, especially if you have tents set up or anything like that. And, occasionally a limb or two could come down, but we could have isolated power outages. Jody, what about Saturday overnight into Sunday? Dee, thank you for watching. Joyce, thank you for watching. So let's go into Sunday. I know I kind of paused there on Saturday. Here we are Sunday, 6:20. Look, folks, the movement of this system is tricky, but the confidence is getting greater and greater and greater, which is good. You want that, getting closer to a weather event. And it is looking like this will be in the upstate of South Carolina by Sunday morning. Southerly flow returns. It's still breezy at the beaches. Still small craft advisory conditions. Wave heights really high on your Sunday. Going to show you the wave cast boaters in just a moment. But wind direction southwesterly and winds lighter. So even Sunday morning, we're going to go ahead and continue the chance of high winds through Sunday morning, or gusty winds, I should say. But data is saying it'll slow down even earlier than that, but we want to be a little bit careful, play it a little bit conservative here, and let you know that the gusty breeze is possible Sunday morning, but it doesn't mean it's going to be bad or cause major problems or anything like that. Virginia Henneberry, thank you for watching from Big Canoe, Georgia. Anything about schools for Monday? We don't have any word on schools for Monday. A lot of announcements coming likely over the weekend, so that is a reason to stay tuned in addition to the weather updates. If you don't have time to watch TV or you want to go outside or whatever you want to do, just be aware that you can also get the updates in the WTOC news apps. We literally, our web digital production team, they work tirelessly. They type these updates up. They keep these lists updated, WTOC.com, and a lot of times you are updated or you're alerted to the updates via the phone. They literally send it to your phone, makes a noise, vibrates, whatever your settings are, and you'll know the latest information. If not, you can check a longer list at WTOC.com, also scrolling at the bottom of WTOC TV. Tevin, thank you for watching. Matt, what does it look like for winds on Monday? 10 to 15. We're back to normal winds Monday, nothing crazy there. Crystal, is the wind coming in gusts are pretty steady? Steady with gusts. The gusts 35 to 45, those are the gusts, the random isolated wind gusts. The steady winds more like 10 to 20, maybe 15 to 25 on the higher end. So let's compare it. Sometimes it's not good to compare weather events, but I think this is the way to kind of drive home what we're going to see. Those big time cold fronts that move in the fall and the winter, no, the temperatures aren't changing, but think about the winds we get with those. It's going to be a classic windy day, especially low country, and just breezy here south of the Altamaha River, but none of the winds we're going to see are really going to be severe as it appears right now. Melanie, it's stated it made landfall as Category 1. That's much better than Category 4 that thought was rated as. Yeah, again, storms can be unpredictable, but here's the problem. Storm surge was incredible. It was still Category 3-4 storm surge. They had many people had to be rescued. The community or the city of New Bern, North Carolina was hit incredibly hard. And I'm fearing, I don't have this confirmed to me. I have not watched the latest reports because I've been updating some of the digital stuff here, but I am fearing that there could have been a loss of life in New Bern, North Carolina, because they were having to, in the middle of the night, rescue people out of their attics because of storm surge and rainfall flooding. So yes, a Category 1, but that's not the entire picture. I can remember back personally to Hurricane Ike in 2008, a high-end Category 2 produced a 20 to 25-foot storm surge that did kill several people and absolutely leveled entire coastal communities. So it's not just the wind speed, which is where you get that category number from, that can determine impact. Of course, it is better. Don't get me wrong. You're absolutely right. Better than if it was a Category 4 wind-wise, but that surge was still very intense out there. Crystal, you're welcome. Tabitha, thank you. You're welcome as well. Jenny, the risk of tornadoes is incredibly low. Kenny, is Savannah going to get rain and gusty wind? We'll have gusty breezes. Rain will be scattered. Time now is 11:35. Meteorologist Andrew Gordon and I are in the Weather Center. We're going to be breaking down the forecast in even more detail coming up on the news at noon. And hey, if you're out driving, maybe you're one of those that did choose to evacuate and you're out driving, you want to stay in touch with us. You don't even have to be at the hotel room or wherever you are at the TV and sitting in front of the TV. The WTOC weather app is a really good resource. Of course, there's Andrew's update. We literally alerted you to the 11 a.m. update. He forecasted not only what was going on, but the impacts that we can expect in our area. And if you scroll on down, all you have to do is click Watch Live, and that is where you can see the latest streaming coverage. You can watch our conversation right now in the app, but of course, coming up here in about 24 minutes, you can watch the news at noon in the app. So bottom line, severe weather unlikely, but it will be gusty 35-45 mile-per-hour winds, particularly low country, lesser wind risk off to the south and west. Rain will be scattered. Not a terrible weekend, but one to keep an eye on the weather, and of course we will help you do so. Meteorologist Andrew Gordon and I having the latest complete first alert forecast coming up on the news at noon.